City Councillor, Ward 7 and 8. Rod Power is with us. Rod, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Rod, elections is this year in October
Absolutely.
2026.
Yes.
How was the performances last year by the City Council?
I think we're doing very well. I remember when I was running in 2022, one of the things or one of the mandates that I had gone to the doors with was to unify council.
Okay.
And we've done that. If you look, council's pretty unanimous in most votes, and we get along very well. You don't have any of that infighting that was synonymous.
That was going on
Yes.
in previous councils.
That's right. So I think we've done very well. We've got record amount of investments, whether it be for the hospital, whether it be for the LRT, whether it be for the tunneled LRT, many different investments.
Okay.
And I think that's the largest you've seen in Brampton's history.
You represent Ward 7 and 8.
Yes.
My first question, before I go to any other question, my first question is like about the bike lanes.
Yes.
Many times we have seen that city take the decision and they backtrack. The bike lanes, these were like a hardly talked subject, because when people, they protested that we can't park outside our homes.
Right.
So what happened to the bike lanes?
So I think it goes back way back until COVID, right? We needed to find ways to get people out and active and get them out of their houses with staying socially distanced. The challenge that you see is, we implemented different options, and the idea of active transportation is a beautiful idea, and it's something that we do desperately need. We need to keep people active. The challenge is in Ward 7, we have north-south pathways, and those pathways have been there for 60 years. And in some cases, like the Hilldale path that goes into Chunkuzi Park, you don't even hit a major road. There's a tunnel underneath Central Park, there's a tunnel under Hilldale Crescent, there's a tunnel under Queen Street. So you can go basically north to south without even hitting a major road. I think we implemented them with good intentions. We implemented them with the right intentions, but it's time to tweak it.
But when our city councillors get huge salaries from the taxpayers,
Sure.
and these kind of decisions comes and goes away, because it's not once, it's many times, including the AS cameras and the bike lanes and the universities and other things. Why at first place the due diligence had not been done before putting the bike lanes? Because when people protested that we have, because first is Brampton a bike city or not?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a bike city.
So
no.
it is not a bike city,
Yes.
we all agree, because
Yes.
here people want to keep more and more and more vehicles. We have 4 to 5 vehicles in a single home,
Absolutely.
and that is not a bike city.
That's right.
Still we took a decision, and then the bike lanes had to go away.
Well, it's that premise of if you build it, they will come.
Okay.
Right. So the active transportation model is and the master plan is actually a very good plan. It just needs to be tweaked. When you talk about different initiatives that we've done throughout the city, like ASEs, it was impossible to know. It was an Ontario government's
But that cost
decision.
huge funding, huge money.
It is, and we're still working with the Ontario government to recoup a lot of that. But at the same time, it's you either take the chance to do it, which makes it a better place or a safer place for the residents and our community, or
But why can't we do consultations before coming out to a conclusion or making a decision? That can save a lot of money for taxpayers.
Absolutely, and I think you have different degrees. You have different programs and different initiatives that have gone on that there's no way to see, right? So the ASE cameras, there's no way to see. Doug Ford wanted the ASE cameras,
Okay.
and then because of public outcry, he wanted to pull it back. The bike lanes is something a little bit different, right?
So are there any bike lanes in Brampton or total gone?
No, there's still bike lanes in Brampton.
Okay.
They'll still be there. But I think we need to look at it community to community, right?
Okay.
So you have different sections within Brampton, and you have to make sure that it's right for that community, not necessarily building something and just slapping it everywhere and saying that's the decision. But bike lanes will still remain. We're not removing bike lanes as a whole. We're just removing a section, which is from Dixie to Williams Parkway on Howden. And there's a protected bike lanes, and it traps residents in the L section from getting in and out of their streets.
So what residents' response was when the bike lanes were implemented? What
They didn't like them.
They didn't like them.
They didn't like them. So they've been fighting it for, I've heard this at the doors. When I was campaigning in 2022, that was, it was the first thing that everybody was saying, get rid of the bike lanes, get rid of the bike lanes. And it's, I want to make sure everybody knows, it's not about getting rid of bike lanes, it's about improving the network.
Okay.
I want to move, and I've done a lot of work in the last year and a half with active transportation and public works and some other city folks to build a plan that actually makes it better for the entire city, makes it accessible for all ages, all ages and all abilities to be able to ride. Right now, I wouldn't put my kids on those protected bike lanes on the road. I would rather see them on the boulevards. So we do have a plan, and Ward 7 is the trial for it.
9 months to go. Are you election ready now?
Yeah, I'm election ready, absolutely.
Okay. So how you see your report card in the previous years?
You know, I've done a lot of things in the community, and I've stayed more community grounded. So I've distributed over 1 million pounds of food to over 250,000 people. I've done, obviously, the bike lanes now. I've worked on getting the Chinguacousy Library back in its rightful spot. So we lost the Chinguacousy Library to TMU. And you know what, we're all happy for the medical university, but that 30,000 square foot library was a nucleus for Brampton. And now with the implementation of adding that to the Howden Rec Center, we now get that 30,000 library back, 30,000 square foot library back. And I couldn't be happier, because that's where I grew up. That's where I learned to skate. That's where I learned to, you know, do different things in the library, the different programs that they had. It was where I learned my civic responsibilities. We used to meet with the mayor every now and then in school trips. So, you know, that's where City Hall was.
How many events you attended in last year, 2025?
How many events have I attended in 2025? Oof.
Approximate.
Every
day?
Every
Multiple
day.
events every day?
Every day, 7 days a week. I would estimate probably 6 a day on average.
6 a day on average.
On average.
This is also one of the complaint by the resident. What we heard, that our elected officials, they attend lots and lots of events, and whereas they have to focus on the residents' concerns.
Yeah.
Did you heard these kind of things from
Absolutely.
the residents?
But if you don't attend these events, and a lot of these events, when we're talking events, they could be a seniors group, or they could be, it could be a cultural celebration. We do hear about residents' concerns while we're there.
Okay. So recently there were budget chats.
Yes.
In your ward also, 7 and 8 budget chats.
Yes.
What were the main concerns you heard from the residents?
Yeah.
From taxes, property taxes, to the mismanagement, or the deputy mayor controversy, or the other controversy, because City of Brampton, many times they remain in the controversies.
Yeah.
We can't discuss every controversy here, but starting from Brampton U to the deputy mayor controversy, to the 24 million, to the Nivas living, to the Electra building, and all these things.
Right.
So what concerns you heard from the residents?
I think it's important to note that every community within Brampton is unique, and everybody has different challenges and different perspectives, right? So when we talk about the budget chats for 7 and 8, we heard about affordability. We heard about you know, people choosing to, whether they pay a bill or whether they buy groceries or whether they have kids and they have to get into some type of activity for their kids. So we heard about affordability issues, but we also heard about snow plowing, snow clearing,
Windrow issues?
Windrows is an issue in some cases, but you got to remember, I'm in a mature neighborhood of Brampton, right? So Brampton has been around for 65 years and built that way.
Mississauga can use the Windrow, Vaughan can use, why can't Brampton have those facilities?
So the windrows is very interesting, and I think a lot of people don't understand, and we've not really gone out and publicized it enough. The tax base would have to pay about $94 million for windrows. For windrows, it only will equate to, I think it's 135,000 homes. So it's not all the homes. So is it fair to go out and tax everybody that amount, but not everybody's going to receive the benefit of the windrows? So if I take my street, for example, I know that my street is very narrow, and it's a number of curves. Therefore, I wouldn't get windrow cleaning on my street. So I'm still going to have to pay the taxes for the windrows, but not see the benefit of it. So That's why we haven't done it. We've done 2 different town halls where there were questions on windrows, and the majority says they don't want the windrow cleaning, or they don't want the tax increase for windrow
You
cleaning.
have a report of that survey where people say we don't need windrow services?
It's not that they don't need it, they just don't want to pay the taxes.
Nobody wants to pay higher taxes because
Absolutely.
already residents pay
100%.
very high taxes. Why can't there be another solution? Why can't city reduce their expenses? The contracts which we give, why can't we reduce that cost? Or the overhead expenses, city can reduce it to adjust that windrow instead of increasing the taxes every time.
So how do you go to residents that won't feel a benefit from the service of windrow cleaning?
If 70% residents in the Brampton, they need windrow service, 30% don't. Still, it's a 70% they need.
It's not 70% that need it, though. That's the challenge, right? And I think.
So why Mississauga and Vaughan has windrow services?
Well, Mississauga has windrow services. Obviously, their streets are a little bit different than ours, so that they're a lot straighter for the most part, but also wider in some of the older neighborhoods. But the challenge with Mississauga is they only do it for 2 months a year. That's the differences in the cost. We wanted to do it for the entire season because you don't know if you're going to get a.
Okay, got it. In budget chats, one issue was, you said affordability.
Yes.
Second issue was the windrow services. What was the other issue you heard?
Garbage cleaning and recycling. So
Recycling, okay.
yeah, so like I said, every community in Brampton is a lot different. I have a mature neighborhood, so when you see lawn care not being taken care of, or you see garbage piling up, that's a massive concern because we have a beautiful neighborhood in Bramley, and people want to maintain that.
Any other issues?
Just accessibility, so they want to be able to reach out and talk to us more, right? So,
But you are in every event. So all the councillors are in every event that is more accessible.
you know what? My door is always open.
Is crime an issue you heard?
We hear about extortions, yes. We hear about crime and break-ins. It's tough. It's very tough when you're talking about extortion because that's on a multi-government stage. It's you not only.
But our 5 member of parliaments lives here.
Yes.
Our city council, Team Canada lives in Peel region.
Yes.
Our MPPs lives here in the Peel region.
Yes.
And means we have federal, provincial and municipal representative lives here.
Yes.
And extortion is also in this area.
Yes.
And so much of concerns because budget chats don't have 1, 3, 4, 5 issues. There are multiple issues what we heard from the community.
Yes, and again, it's community-based,
Yes.
right? So in certain wards, extortions are going to be a lot more prevalent or a lot more discussed than other wards, right? You don't hear about extortions. There are across the city, but you don't necessarily hear about them everywhere, or people are not as focused on extortions. They are focused on street racing. They are focused on parking. They are focused on visibility of police officers, visibility of the police on the streets. Those are the focuses that they're looking for when they're talking about crime.
Is property tax an issue? Every time it's a hike and hike, people are they
Well, I want to make sure everybody is aware. We
Yes.
have one of the lowest property tax increases in the GTA. We're lower than Mississauga.
What is the property tax in Brampton now?
For Brampton, it'll be 1.5 this year.
Okay, total property tax in Brampton.
Total.
Total property tax
So it's an increase of about $111 on an annual basis.
means total percentage City of Brampton residents are paying as a property tax.
Yes.
How much is that?
So when you factor in Peel Region and you factor in the school boards, I believe it's 4.6.
Okay. And then also the residents has to pay the region property tax also.
Well, I think what's important to know is, services come with a price, right? So when you're talking about crime, you're talking about extortion, you're talking about police visibility, and that's the big one at the regional budget. We have to hire more officers, right? That comes at a cost. We have to be able to combat a lot of the crime or combat a lot of the different facets of crime, whether it be intimate partner violence, extortion, street racing, mufflers, drunk driving, any type of crime that's out there, you have to have the services to provide.
Rod, initially in your statement you mentioned that in the previous councils there was an infight.
Yes.
And now at this council there is no infight, that's a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes.
But question lies like how much city lost by not having the Brampton U, which was declared Brampton U.
Yes.
Then cameras, automated speed cameras, how much city lost into that. then the contracts given, then bike lanes, they were removed in many areas. These kind of things, is any budget city is losing or lost?
So I don't think it's a matter of losing a budget, and I'll give you a perfect example, and I'll use the bike lanes for example. Option 4 was what was come back from the public surveys that they had done. And option 4 was just to put right-hand turn lanes at Williams Parkway and at Dixie on Howden. That was a cost of $773,000. Just to remove the bike lanes, we've now cut that more than half. So we've cut that down to $337,000. So there's a savings there of $393,000. That money was already allocated. So there are savings. So when you're talking about profits and losses, right, you all have to take in many different aspects in account, right? When you're talking about ASEs, yes, there is a shortfall right now, but we're working with the provincial government to make us whole, right? And I trust Mayor Brown that he will figure out a way to make that whole.
Why city remains in the controversies?
I think it's. I think there's a number of reasons why they remain in the controversies. I think you have one of the most politically charged environments in Brampton.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that are involved in politics, whether they're in politics or not. They're involved, and you know, there's controversies, there's stories that come out. But there's also truths to them, and I don't think that the truths are necessarily out there.
Okay.
And I think we could do a lot better doing that.
Okay, so let's talk about the Deputy Mayor, 24 million Nivas living, and all the article we read, it was viral across, and many people, they asked the questions, and that 24 million, why the council voted as a non-profit organization to give that money without doing their due diligence. And the report said that Councillor Toor and Councillor Kaur, they had full knowledge, and there is a big conflict of interest. Being a councillor, being into that committee, do you agree that that was a big conflict of interest?
So look, the Deputy Mayor has been stalwart for the city of Brampton, and I think, you know, even if you take online, there's a lot of people coming to his defense. When we talked about the 24 million for Nawas, seniors living, that's from federal funding. That's not city taxpayers' money. That's from a federal funding program, and he's only a volunteer board member. So
But was there a conflict of interest? Because if that company was registered after getting the funding and he was the director in that, we don't know how true that report is, that Deputy Mayor can answer. But question is, does council did their due diligence that this Deputy Mayor is having a company when the funding was approved?
So I think that's where the confusion is. It's not. He's not in the company. He's on a volunteer board. So
The company was not registered by Deputy Mayor?
not that I'm aware of, not seniors
Okay.
living. So
Nivas living, there are two, Nivas living and the
yeah,
other.
so the seniors, and that's what we approved is for the seniors, and that's a federal funding program. The Deputy Mayor sought out our Integrity Commissioner. The Integrity Commissioner viewed it as, because he's a volunteer member on a board, that there is no conflict. And that's, I have to go by that, because I'm not a lawyer,
Yeah.
but I have to go by what the Integrity Commissioner said.
Okay, so what about the Electra building? There was a big article in the Toronto Star, and then it went away. So residents of Brampton, when they pay their taxes, when they vote, because this thing is out there in the air, before elections these things will come up.
Sure they will.
So being a councillor, what you have to say that these kind of articles, is the mainstream media targeting Brampton, or is the Brampton City Council is doing something which is not right? What are the facts, Mr. Papa?
So look, I think the challenge, and we'll use the Electra building for example, we purchased the building because we needed a building, but we also needed the space and the grounds that come with it as well. There are many different departments that will be run out of that building, and that will help us expand through the future. As you know, in the height of real estate, prices were inflated. The building was, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, it was appraised at $67 million. So we were in a bidding war, and we wanted the building. So I think, when you talk about, again, it's the truths that are coming out and what's not being said, right? It's people are saying that we spent 77 million on a building and it's taxpayers' money and it's a underhanded deal, because the reason why the article was written is because there's somebody in the background that has an issue with one of the proponents or not.
So is city sending a legal notice to those articles, those who wrote that?
I believe that our legal department's involved in it, and that's why you haven't seen it come out again. Right?
Okay.
It's kind of gone by the way.
So legal action is taken to those articles by the
They've
city?
sent a letter or an email to retract, yes.
So let's talk about the transit. There is a huge loss, approximately 24 million,
Yes.
because there is a drop in the riders.
Yes.
And that's a federal policy because less newcomers.
Yes.
So how city is coping up with that loss?
Well, there's a number of different ways that they're looking at it. There's a number of different elements in the budget that will try to recoup some of that loss. We've just announced as well a fare increase for Brampton Transit, and that'll help recoup some of that loss as well.
Okay. In the budget charts which were going on, what other solutions you got from that budget charts? What is the outcome? Because you mentioned few of the concerns, but there are many more concerns that councillors are not reachable, they don't answer the calls, many times we can track them in the events, the parks, but when we have the issue, they don't answer, they don't get back to us, not to you, but most of the councillors. So how these issues are being tackled by the city?
Well, I don't want to speak for other members on council, and I think they understand and know their communities better than what I would know. I will speak for the residents of 7 and 8 and what I actively do within Ward 7 and 8. And I've always been available, whether it be email, whether it be phone, whether it be text messages. I give out my cell phone to anybody that asks for it. And I think, we have a duty to our residents to be active and present. And we also have a duty to our residents to act accordingly what their expectations are.
Okay.
And then for me, I've always said that I've wanted to be interacting with residents. So I've done many different meetings, impromptu meetings on resident driveways where I tell them to get all their neighbors through and we'll come in and have a chat. So I don't wait for a coffee chat at budget time. I'm constantly in the community, talking to residents, doing different things with residents, whether it be their street parties, making sure I speak to everybody that's there.
So do council have a solution for those concerns which residents raised?
Absolutely, absolutely. We do. We take everything back and we look at. So if you, and I'm assuming you've been to a coffee chat for the budget. We have a number of different staff there, from whether it be our audit staff, whether it be our budgeting staff, or whether it be some of the staff from 311 or from bylaw. We bring out our staff to make sure that we can take those messages back and see how we can improve.
Did you saw frustration by the residents during those chats? Because there are many protests going on about the RRL issues, about all other issues. There are protests going on. Many groups, they on the weekends they do protest, they are demanding something. Why city council don't sit with them? They are our people, and chat with them, listen their concerns and resolve the issues on the table.
So look, I think again that's something that's not being reported on, right? There's one group that has a problem with RRL, and we'll use RRL as the example. There's one group. I can tell you right now that almost, and I don't know for everybody, but I know that most people have spoke to the organizer of that group. And we've gone through some of the issues that has been raised. I don't think that group is no longer worried about RRL. And if you look at their last one that they just had, there were many other issues that they were bringing up. So it's almost like they've lost their focus. It's not the RRL anymore. They just want to be elected and put into a seat at the city council.
But they are working and fighting for the residents.
Are they?
And councillors, I say like people, and councillors are also elected and fighting for the residents.
Absolutely.
So if every one of us want city to be better, how togetherly Someone can do an initiative, sit with them, listen their concerns, and work collaboratively. That is the strong team Brampton, that is called.
So-
Anyone can those initiatives.
So that has been attempted,
Okay.
right? Unfortunately, in order to do that, both parties have to be willing to do that.
Yes.
One of those parties doesn't want to do that.
Okay. Did city tried that?
Of course, we've all sat down.
Okay. The population. What is the Brampton's population?
Whew. Estimate?
Estimate?
We can only estimate, right?
What Stat Canada says?
Well, it's still under-reporting us, so we have to wait till the new census comes out.
So last year Stats Canada said that 800,000
Approximate.
approximately.
Yes.
But we all know
It's
that is
probably closer
approximately
to, it's probably closer to 1 million.
is more than million.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because is that in the city's knowledge that because one of the councillor Martin Metrios, he also raised concern during these budget committees that Brampton's population is underreported.
Yes.
What do you think?
It's massively underreported. We have various issues when it comes to reporting and that, so we need Stats Canada to report, but we can't get any funding. That's so. If we're, currently right now, when you look at StatsCan or when you look at anything else, when it comes to our population, we're still sitting at 600,000, just under 600,000. So in order for us to get a fair share, whether it be provincially or whether it be federally, we have to be reported correctly. So
who will do that?
Census.
Census. So
Census.
how to correct it if they are reporting 800,000 and we have more than
So
millions
census
people?
hasn't been completed as of yet. Census will be completed this year.
But census, last year's census, that is also underreported.
So
They are
that's
not.
as-
They are not counting the illegal people living in the basements.
Right.
That's a city's responsibility. How city can tackle and
So just so census wasn't completed last year, right? It's just Stats Canada.
It's Stats
estimated-
Canada, yes.
Estimated.
estimated.
But that's not a full census completed. So a full census will be completed this year, 2026.
Okay.
Hopefully they will be reporting correctly, and hopefully those numbers are coming up. I think it's funny because you have many different government levels of government issues that are there that will help identify and be able to report correctly, right? Schools, right, which is provincially run. How many illegal schools do we have in the city that have residents that may or may not be in the city? We know of cases where people are living here but actually attending school in Guelph or in other cities.
And people have driving license plate of Quebec. They are living here.
Sure, absolutely.
They have insurance from that place and
Sure.
they are living here.
There's many different issues, right?
Yes.
So when we look at when it comes to students or when it comes to foreigners coming in, that's you have to. The provincial government, there's a beds for heads tax. When you look at something like that, if they're not staying, or if they're staying here but going to school elsewhere, the other cities are benefiting from it. So Brampton has always been underfunded and under-reported. And hopefully with our advocacy that we do either at FCM or AMO, we're going to see that change now.
But Brampton did a lot of advocacy on the issue of crime. For last so many years.
Still doing it.
And still doing it.
Yeah.
But so far, so many years, 5-6 years, there is no result. We see extortion, we see the crime, we see it. With that advocacy also, the results are not seen.
So you are seeing results, and if you go to Pure Regional Police, they'll be happy to give you those results on various different levels of crime, whether it be drunk driving, intimate partner violence, breaking and enters, car thefts, carjackings. Those are all down.
We recently did one report, which is the report called Udta Canada, means Flying Canada. In Peel region, we have the drug dens, we have the pawn shops. If you got a chance to watch that report, in that report, in 2015 also, it was alarmed by the Peel police that these tablets contain opium, which are selling open in the market, illegal, which was not authorized to sell. These are still selling into the market. Is that something in your knowledge also, that these pawn shops are selling tablets, opium, afim, opium, like so many things, the dry dodas which are called, they are being sold in these pawn shops and no action. Everybody knows about it.
Well, I don't know if, and I think
We captured those all things in a video.
I saw the
you
video.
saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that there's no action. I think that the way the criminal code is set up, we need to make sure that we have all the ducks in a row. So police agencies, whether it be CBSA, whether it be RCMP, OPP, Peel Police, you can't just go in and arrest and shut everything down.
Who set the criminal code?
Federal government.
So is city doing advocacy on that?
Of course we're doing advocacy.
And it's in your knowledge and it's police knowledge that these pawn shops are selling drugs openly?
Only from your report that it was my knowledge. But drugs is not something that's new. Drugs has always been in our communities, always been sold in different forms, different various ways, whether it be your dealer, whether it be what have you. One of the things that I worked with Mayor Brown and Councillor Keenan was we had a safe injection site at Peel Center Drive. We advocated, we went to the province, and then that was now changed. So we no longer have a safe injection site. That's in Ward 7. And so we do know that there's a drug issue out there. We do have advocacy to the various levels of government. Just because you don't see something happening or you don't believe something's happening doesn't mean that there is something happening. There's investigations that are ongoing, and we can't, as a government, we wouldn't necessarily know all the details of the investigation.
But it's almost 11 years. 2015, the report was published that Peel Police warning the residents of Brampton or Peel region that these tablets which are selling by the pawn shops has a opium in it. And still after 11 years, they are selling it. Investigation took 11 years. Being a councillor, election is this year. Will you take this issue further to shut down these drug dens which are openly in the community?
So I think that's a misinformation there, right? So just because it was reported 11 years ago, it doesn't mean it wasn't happening before then as well. How many have been shut down versus how many are still open? Or how many new ways have they found to be able to sell, right? Because just because anything with criminal activity, it doesn't matter what the crime is. Just because you shut down this cell here or you shut down this operation here doesn't mean it doesn't get moved, right? And one of the easiest one is the Hells Angels. How long did it take them to take down the Hells Angels, right? There's years and years and years, and they moved. They moved throughout the country. And then they also did international trade and what have you. So I think just because you don't see it being done doesn't necessarily it's not being acted on. We're always advocating for various levels of crime. We're always advocating for different things to happen throughout, but to protect the integrity of any investigations, certain information is not going to come out. So unless you have clear data that says, and I can tell you that a lot of these crimes are down because we have that data given to us by Peel Police. Specific instances, you're not going to hear about what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, so before we let you go, Councillor Power, what is your message to the residents of Brampton, Ward 7 and 8? Because this is election year and you said you are election ready. What is your message and how will you, their concerns, how will you address their concerns?
Well, I think for me, and I use a tagline quite often, right? Not just for the community, but in the community doing the work. And I will still continue to do that. I'll still be available by phone, email, text, whatever way they want to get a hold of me. And I think it's important to integrate within the community, but also involve myself in the community. So, as I said before, it's not going to these events is one thing, and some of them, yes, they are lavish and they are grand events, but whether I go to a park for a senior's day or whether I go to a rec center for a mural unveiling or whether I go to or do my own events like doing the food giveaways. Like I said, I've given away over 1 million pounds of food to 250,000 people, and that's over a period of time. It's being in the community and understanding the needs of the community. I understand there's an affordability issue, and I understand that people are struggling, and any way that I can help, I will help.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.